of the MPP's communication team, will also share his thoughts, the thoughts from the other side. And then we'll be joined by Dr. David Pessey, who is a student of history and politics. The last time he was here, he says the NDC is in no good shape. Well, what will he say this time around? That's our panel for today on Alhaji and Alhaji. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. We'll start with the discussion on the NDC primaries that are ongoing currently. In fact, a few checks around the various centers that are supposed to be hosting the primaries show that, okay, it has started, but voting has not started. Some of them are even now changing venues from one place to another. For example, in the case of Owusu Sena East, and there are some places where there's already tension there, but that can be expected. Well, let me start this morning with Kwame Owusu Danso. I'm starting with him because, like I said, the most interesting thing about journalism is when you wake up in the morning and you find a story that has brought itself, and you can spend hours on. Oh, the NDC has given us that this week. Kwame, nice to have you on the show. It's been quite
likewise, Sena. Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers. Well, when I get the opportunity to sit here, it's I find it a little difficult expressing myself freely, particularly because you need to do so with a lot of circumspection, and particularly also if you're not careful, people might twist your words and create a whole lot of problems for you. So Alhaji and Alhaji, by design and by deliberate, being deliberate, I have decided to always stay away from Alhaji and Alhaji. But this morning I had no option because of the NDC's elections. So we are unable to bring in some of the representatives from the NDC. And it's to be expected because all of them are busy on the field and trying to put things in place and to make sure that the elections are held peacefully. Now, let me, before I comment on what transpired from last night till this morning, go back a little bit and talk about the organization of this whole NDC elections. And I think that once upon a time, I had the occasion of having this conversation with a friend of mine who is an integral member of the NDC. And I raised concerns about the timelines that they had given for the organization of the elections. And I raised concerns about the fact that it appears that there's some deliberate attempt to make it very impossible, or make it very difficult, or make it impossible for people who aspire, to go to Parliament or represent their people to get the opportunity to do so, because the time was very short. And so if you do not have resources, how to even get resources to be able to campaign effectively and visit all the communities and the constituency and in the constituency will be very difficult for you, especially if you are going up against an incumbent who perhaps may have all the resources at his disposal or her disposal to be able to do, proper campaigning and to continue to send their message across. So I had a problem with it, but I guess my thought is just, a needle in a haystack. So, for instance, you can only comment, but people, obviously, if they decided to do what they want to do, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, so that being said, one of the things that people were looking up to was the presidential, because it was, shall I say, a contest between Dr. Dufo, who has been a veteran in the party, and former President John Dramani Mahama, who is the face of the party. If I say the face of the party, he was a president of the Republic of Ghana. He's led the NDC at all levels, and so he is more like the current face of the NDC. So this contest between Dr. Dufo, why do I keep saying Kufo? Dr. Dufo and John Dramani Mahama was, in my estimation, something that I was looking forward to, because then it would have tested the popularity of John Dramani Mahama going into the 2024 elections. And so when Dr. Dufo started and was able to get some people to support him and to campaign for him, I was excited about it because the idea that former President Mahama was very popular in the party and therefore was going to get 100% support would have been tested. Then would have known genuinely whether the people want him to lead the NDC or not. If Dr. Dufour had gotten maybe 20%, 30%, 40%, then it would have raised doubts as to the popularity of former President John Dramani Mahama. We do know that he raised concerns about some internal arrangements which were not favoring him, and the fact that the party hierarchy were doing things in his estimation which were affecting, how he was going to enjoy a free and fair elections, and therefore it gave him every reason to complain about it. And we do know that he went to court seeking an injunction on the organization of the elections. I think he was spoken to. I don't know the arrangements they came to, but obviously these things happen. In the heat of all of this, I spoke to one very good friend of mine who is on the other side, an MPP person who is also one of the young, influential MPP persons, and you may know him. He's a mutual friend.
Oh, okay.
And he said, well, sometimes it surprises him how the NDC conducts itself, because if it were in the MPP, they would find a way of even booting you out, because if this is what they want, it is what they have to get. If you are going to be a stumbling block in for instance, the organization of the elections, and knowing that they have invested so much, leading up to that, the organization of the election, they would find a way of, booting you out. And he gave examples of Philip Addison and all of that, and examples of how they even found a way of booting Philip Addison out. And they said, he couldn't even speak the language in the community. So, they are very upfront, with what they want to do. If they decide to do something, they make sure that they achieve that. I'm happy that they found a way around it. They found a way of resolving the internal issues that they had. I'm happy that Dr. Dufour finally, put a stop to the injunction, or withdrew the injunction from court, and I'm happy that the process is starting today. We live in a democratic dispensation, and NDC prides itself as a democratic party. And so if all parties want to take part in this process, or in this exercise of testing the democracy or the democratic tenet of the NDC, I think that all persons must be allowed to so do. As for the other candidates, I am in no position to be able to gauge his influence and his impact and the control that he has in the party. I don't know whether he's been able to get a grassroots to support him. I don't know. But what I do know is that it will be, and it will forever be a no contest for John Dramani Mahama. This was a no contest for John Dramani Mahama. But I just wanted to see whether convincingly, overwhelmingly, he was going to get this kind of support that people were thinking he would have. Now it's just going to be a walk in the park for him. I'm sure he's going to get 100% endorsement. And but as to whether or not that will reflect in subsequent elections is also another matter. So yes, I wish them all the best. We'll be following keenly, and I'm sure we'll know at the end of the day whether the endorsement will be 100% or not. But whatever other ancillary matters which ought to be dealt with, I'm sure that once Mujeeb speaks, we'll be able to come back to those ancillary matters, and then we'll deal with it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And don't forget that the NDC had to actually prepare materials and send them to the ground all yesterday. Had to do all that yesterday because he didn't know where there was a lot of uncertainty surrounding because of the court case. And the court case was also supposed to have been heard yesterday. They went to court prepared to argue. To argue their case out. And when you speak to their lawyers, they were confident that they were going to convince the court to rule in their favor. But when they went to court, Dr. Kwame Dufour's lawyers stand up and said that they had decided to withdraw the case from court. So NDC had to put all the logistics around the country, send them to the various places where there will be elections. Don't forget, it is not every place that there will be parliamentary primaries, but everywhere across the country there will be presidential primaries. A place like Odododio, there will be no parliamentary primaries,
unopposed,
but there will be a presidential primary. Actually, it's not unopposed. They are not holding it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been postponed for some time. So let me go to Mujeeb for his thoughts on what you've witnessed this week.
Thank you, Sena, and for the opportunity, and thank you to your viewers across the length and breadth of this country. It's been a while anyway, but it is true, we are monitoring what is happening, and so far what has happened within the NDC circles. And so now we are hopeful that we want NDC to be strong and be able to challenge the new patriotic party in the next year's election, 2024. So when you see some of these things happening, it is so worrying. People might think that, oh, we were happy that, oh, these things were happening. Maybe eventually one of the aggrieved parties has gone to court to place injunction on the election. So therefore, the elections will not come on. And I asked a friend, of what benefit? Because NDC is the largest opposition party, and we need them to be stronger. So when we beat them, we know you have beaten a stronger party. But for them to be disjointed and so disunited, I think that would not be the best interest of the new patriotic party. But on one side, I was so worried, Sena, why some people, especially leading members of the National Democratic Congress, took to the social media and the traditional media, castigating and condemning Dr. Kwame Dofuo for going to court to place to seek redress. Let me put it that way. So I was surprised. And knowing Kwame Dofuo as a seasoned member, a senior member of the National Democratic Congress, also understand the structures of the party and the nuances. So if eventually you see such a person heading to the court, you just know that maybe it was difficult or the heat was so hot that his grievances were not contained within. Eventually, he has to go to court. And so now when you take both political party constitution, that I know of NDC and MPP, the first option is to exhaust all internal avenues. So when, after exhausting all the internal avenues, structures, your issues are not addressed, then it gives you the opportunity to go to court. So I asked myself, what was Kwame Dofuo's crime? Insisting on the right thing to be done, insisting that the party becomes strong. Today is Kwame Dofuo, and I asked a friend in NDC, tomorrow might be you. And if you are not treated fairly, and you also go to court to make sure that the right things are done, a level playing field, the same way people from your own party will also come after you. So at the end of the day, what will happen? And knowing the history of the NDC, and you know, for them, they have a history of not being able to manage sometimes some of these rifts that occur in their party. For instance, if I don't want to sound diabolical, but if you recall the Savior Declaration, when it happens, you know what happened. Some of them broke away from the party, especially Gusitano and former Reform Party. Eventually, that affected the party in the national elections. So some of these things, when it happens, you don't have to take it lightly and just want to brush it and say, oh, who is Dr. Kwame Dofuo? If you want, he can go. I watch people and they were so outraged and so. Ask yourselves now, what will be the interest of Dr. Kwame Dofuo not to get the elections done or happen when he is also a contender? But at least, as my brother, I share with him on some of the angle. But it also goes to tell us that largely the NDC as a party still have a lot to learn from the MPP. That's why we always tout ourselves as the peace setters. In this age and era, you still go with a delegate list. For easy identification, they should go with the photo album, which make it easier. For that is where we have got into. So not until this issue pop up, I don't know that NDC is still using a delegate list. Kwame, we have moved from delegate list long ago. As for the names, anybody, you know, the names can be similar and we can bear the same name, but as for the face, If Sena Nombo, your face is there, and Mujeeb, my face is there, Kwame, the pictures alone, you use it to differentiate the people. So, but I am very happy this thing has come up. And going forward, they themselves listening to their party at the national level, especially those in charge of the elections and the mobilization of this album and all those, did admit at a point that if you were to introduce this new element, that is the photo album mechanism, and you are not fully done with it, why are you bringing it into the fray? Because you are not under any obligation to bring it, and you are not mandated by law that you must go with the voter photo album. Yeah. But I think that this is also good because it enhances the process, and it goes a long way to do away with this trying to smuggle people or people using other people's name to vote. It actually do away with it about 90-95%. So we are there long ago. If you go to the MPP, any of the constituencies, and you ask of the album, what they will bring you is the photo album. The name of the person, the polling station, the constituency, the polling station, and the picture of the person. Everything is intact there. So it is difficult for you to impersonate. It is difficult for you to use somebody's name to. And even when somebody unfortunately passes on, we have a process of even replacing the person, which is even very difficult. You just, as a constituency chairman or constituency executive, you just don't turn around and pick somebody and just come and replace it like that. No, it doesn't happen. So it's a rigid process. And so, because of that, it has instilled some amount of confidence in the process. And you recall when we start our polling stations election, electoral area, constituency election, you don't see much of these things. People agree to the extent that they are going to court. We've done the constituency election, we've done the national elections, we've done the regional elections, we've done the national election, and now we are on our way to do our presidential and parliamentary elections, and which I am hopeful that because of the way we have structured our internal voting mechanisms, we won't get to where you found the NDC some few days languishing. But at least I am also very happy that the going to court is part of our democratic process. And I listened to Kwame before. I read the letter he wrote. After drawing the attention of the party through the formal process, and he was not being listened to. So it was left with no option than to go to the court and get his grievances addressed. Now you've took to social media and Twitter, whatever, and insulting him. I think that is not the best. Today is the fourth, tomorrow, but you must insist that the playing field is level for everybody. Oh, because even the contest, Kwame talk of timeline. It's also part sometimes they used to looking at your how strong you are, but knowing former President John Dramani Mahama already has structures across the country. And Sena, remember that our voting structure now, both political parties, especially at the presidential, when you are voting, it's like you are voting, when you are campaigning, it's like you are campaigning a mini national elections. Well, it's not like where now those days you go and bring some few delegates to maybe Accra Sports Stadium and they cast their vote. Now it's into thousands. Then you have to go meet the polling station. In the case of MPP, you go and meet the polling station executives. You meet the electoral area coordinators. You bring the constituency executive along, and then council of patrons, and then council of elders. So all these things, for instance, if you take one central, there are over 1,000. So these people, you bring them like a mini rally. Then from there, you go to Dome Kwabenye. You know, it's a very large constituency, the same thing. So when you don't have the structures in place as a candidate, and when you are not all that resourceful, it is very, very difficult sometimes. So some of these things you see, it frustrates. But on the other side, I was thinking, also being governor before, at least you might have aware of the processes. And even before you even would think of contesting, throwing yourself into the fray, you should have the structures. Kwame, before even the delegate list is given, I have my delegate list. And I can quickly put a team to do a cross-check. So long even before, I expected some of, maybe those who think that they're worth it, could have even done it earlier and even get the party on a round table to address some of these things, and then maybe wouldn't have been. But all in all, thankful they were able to cross the hurdle, and the date has no change, even though what we are hearing, when I got up and on my radio, my TV at the headquarters polling station as at 7:18. The Electoral Commission was not present there yet, and you could imagine maybe that this is Accra, and the NDC office is just closer to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. Then imagine a places like Dambaye, Krachi, Nchimuru, Jomoro, and then other the hinterland. I think that it will be difficult, but we still pray and that they overcome some of this thing. But it will affect their timing. As they said, elections will start at 7 a.m. and close at 4 p.m. So if it's 4 p.m. and there are still majority of people on the line who have not cast their ballot, you can't ask them to go. So, but by and large, I think that it's okay. We are watching, as you've mentioned, and we'll be here. I know they'll be briefing you maybe where the hotspots are, what is happening, and where the confusions are. But in conclusion, we wish them well.
So I just want to make a quick point, and I think he touched on it briefly, but I don't know whether it was deliberate to superficially just deal with the matter. This issue about the Electoral Commission must be looked at. I'm not one to say that the Electoral Commission hates the NDC and loves the NPP, but I think that it is your conduct, how you respond to matters, the way you are receptive to specific matters in respect of issues relating to the NDC and issues relating to NPP and any other person is what will lead a reasonable mind to conclude that you are biased towards one party or the other party. So I think it's instructive that at this material moment, the EC ought to conduct itself in a manner that will not lead people to conclude, to make conclusions and assumptions that the EC appears not to like the NDC. And I'm saying this on the basis of what I have seen and read on social media, that in the times when I think Dr. Dufour intimated that he wanted to, I mean, in fact, when he actually filed, yes, the response from the EC in relation to the organization of the elections is one that raised eyebrows, you know, as to how the EC's relationship with the NDC, I mean, is so clearly we need to be very circumspect. And I have consistently, without fail, opined, and I'll continue to reiterate that the democracy that we are enjoying is by reason of our shared responsibility and and how we have intentionally decided to enjoy our democracy. It's not by dint of somebody's special powers. And the EC, together with all other state institutions and parastatals, are supposed to work in unison to ensure that we continue to enjoy the democracy that we are enjoying. And you see, this politics, or this political exercise and this democratic experiment that we are engaged in, you can only test the strength of your democracy when you are able to handle, serious political engagement. And if I say political engagement, I'm talking about elections. And the Constitution has given EC the supervisory authority to regulate elections in this country. There's no other electoral commission that we have in this country. And there's no other electoral commissioner. There's one electoral commissioner, and there's this body called the Electoral Commission that handles all electoral activities in this country. So if the country will face some agitations and conflagrations, it's by reason of how the EC will conduct itself in the exercise of its democratic functions or in the exercise of its constitutional mandate. So they should be very, very circumspect. With the grace of respect, I think that they should be very circumspect. When you do this, you are leaving doubt in the minds of the Ghanaian people as to whether you are favoring one political party and not favoring the other political party. Bear in mind that we are just warming up. This is just a precursor to the 2024 elections. Already, people have raised several doubts from 2020. You see, till today, we have had doubts. Many Ghanaians have had doubts as to the independence of the Electoral Commission. And so, when you are doing things, you must be minded and guided by the principles of common sense. We must not at all, relegate our commonsensical thinking to the back and clothing ourselves with what appears to be some bias. That in my estimation, will not augur well for the advancement of the democracy that we are practicing. Also, you see, this whole process involves a lot of money and a lot of strategy. You see, and much as we are criticizing the EC and all of that, and much as people have taken to social media criticizing Dr. Dufo and all of that, the NDC must also look at how they are inwardly organizing themselves. It appears that people always have a problem with how they are or they are not organized, and for me that's also a problem. Because if you are organizing an election and you know that one of the things which forms part of the requirement is the photo album, and you know that you must make it available for inspection, why do you not do it? Because then already the perception is that the establishment is behind John Dramani Mahama,
a particular candidate.
You get the point. So why do you also create problems so that on the totality of all the strands or pieces of events which have occasioned, it will lead people to one conclusion that the establishment is supporting John Dramani Mahama. So I think that internally the NDC must also do their things right, organize themselves well, so that in the future they will not be faced with the things that they faced in the 2020 election. You see,
Kwame,
they complained, and I'll just put it here. I'll just say they complained bitterly about, for instance, how they lost the 2020 elections, and they consistently have held the view that in their own estimation they won the 2020 elections. Okay, but if you speak to some of them in camera, they will tell you that our structure and our systems were not even functioning, so we were not able to do our own collation very well. This is strife knowledge, and I think that even form parts of Kwesi Case report. So you see, these are some of the things that the NDC must avert their minds to. It saddens my heart that now the organization of the party must be so strong such that people will be confident in the party. People will be confident in the leader that the party will elect. People will be confident in all the other members who will be representing the party going into the 2024 elections. That should be the focus of the NDC at this material moment. But what do we see? People are beginning to position themselves for when the NDC comes to power in 2024. And it's so sad. It saddens my heart. And it is the reason why most people appear to align with John Dramani Mahama, because they know that when John Dramani Mahama wins the elections, they will find favor in his eyes, and they will get something to do. I think that the real fight and the focus at this material moment is after the internal elections which are being held today. They should find a way of organizing themselves and having a conglomerative mind, for the purposes of winning the 2024 elections. If they have to seek for help outside, if they have people who are, for instance, better marketers, people who are good in PR, to assist them do what they have to do, they should look, they should look for extrinsic help. They should not focus so much on the expertise that they have within, so that together different people can pool their resources and their expertise together. Then they can help them. In 2016, and I don't want to mention this, but in 2016, let me be very honest with you. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I told him that there's no way NDC was going to win 2016 elections. I said it because at the time, social media was still in vogue, and a lot of the young people who were turning 18 around the time were all on social media. Now it got to a point when you open social media, the first person you saw was Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, or some post about the MPP, or some lecture that Dr. Baumia was going to organize, or something which had been said by Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo or Dr. Baumia. So the whole of social media, particularly Facebook, was flooded with stories upon stories and event upon event organized by the MPP. At the time, they also had civil society aligned to their cause. You had AFAD, you had this, you had that, all of them were aligned. Then they had the religious organization, religious body also aligned to their cause. At this material moment, no, I'm being honest, it's political strategy.
Yes.
At this material moment, I don't see those types of alignment. And for me, I think that the NDC, after these elections, should focus on these small things, which perhaps they may gloss over, so that they can build a strong foundation upon which they are going to organize their elections and perhaps even win the 2024 election. Because the LPP is not sleeping. And if they think that is a walk in the park for them, because the perception is that, oh, after every 8 years we change, political leadership in this country, and therefore NPP has spent 8 years, so the next government will be NDC, and so it is going to be one on a silver platter. I beg to differ. I think that this is the time that they must be united more than ever before, so that they can actually fight and win the prize. But if they resile and they think that, oh, this is just a walk in the park, they may be surprised. They may be surprised. I wish them well in this one, but everybody knows that it's a no contest for John Dramani Mahama. It's a no contest. I think you're even going to waste resources, and that's why sometimes you should do acclamations. And you should just,
No, but members also have right to throw in. So as and when they decide to contest, maybe you may know they are not going to win, but you can't just tell them, oh,
no, I get your point, but I'm saying that when the MPP wanted to win power from the NDC, there was overwhelming support for Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Yeah, but that didn't stop Alan from contesting.
No, I agree with that.
The endorsement
was endorsement.
Mama is enjoying the same thing. The last election, Mama was overwhelmingly endorsed by the party.
I agree with you.
And today we all know he will be overwhelmingly endorsed by the delegates to lead the party. But it is also the right of the individual member of the party. If I've said I decided to contest her, you can't just say, oh, I shouldn't contest, or I don't have the right to contest. No, that is part of our democratic process. And all the political parties in Ghana subscribe to the 1992 Constitution. So sometimes you may look at it, but we all know in this contest, whether Dufo or Kojobuns was not going to make any real impact that will cause any damage to John Mahama. But my point is, like Kwame raised it to the on the issue of the Electoral Commission, I agree with him, because when the Electoral Commission announced they are pulling out, I was like, they have gone to court. The court have not even sat on the matter, and you don't know who direction the orders will go. So where are you going? So I think that their polling out was so immediate, and like he said, others will just feed it into, maybe the relationship with the NDC and the Electoral Commission has not been the best, right from 2000 up to today. So, and some of I believe that there's no point that the Electoral Commission can rig election for any party in this country. Kwame, hey, Sena, that has been my view. I say it because I have monitored elections in this country, and I've seen when the people of Ghana decide that this is the party they are voting for. You see it in the results. It is so overwhelming that the Electoral Commission or even the party, Lulusu party, cannot do anything about it. And maybe there are only few occasions you see our elections becoming so close, like the 2008 election between late Professor Mills and Nana Dankwa. But all in all, I think that this is an opportunity the Electoral Commission would have used to just try to mend their ways with the NDC. But to come to the NDC itself, what have been their complaints and accusation of the Electoral Commission so far? This perceived not liking them, or the perception that the Electoral Commission don't like them. They are not giving them a level playing field, to the extent that they have even pulled out of IPAC. Now, you internally, don't let these executives go unchecked, because this issue of Kwame before going to court, I think that it would have been prevented if the man was given a fair hearing or the opportunity to even listen to his grievances based on what he told the public. He has written to the National Party. He has even texted some individuals who are holding positions in the party, and they ignore him. And so now, if you are the one, what will you do? If there's a last layer that you can go and compel these people to listen to me, will you allow that option to slip? So you can't be complaining of something and then you turn around and you are doing it to your own self. And whatever it is, you can also downplay the contributions of people like Kwame. If not for anything, maybe He has served as a minister of finance for some time, and then he has also contributed. And he's coming from where the NDC is always trying to garner more votes. He's from the Ashanti region. And you know the target of the NDC since 2016 to hit 30% in the Ashanti region. And you can use people like them to achieve. So what was the essence of not trying to? But even if you bring all the albums, everything to Kwame before office, but everybody knew that he was still going to lose the election. So what was the essence? But sometimes I blame the national executives of the NDC. They cause all this. And I think that they are pusher, they have to change. Because if actually, I don't have a problem, but it's an advice we are offering. Because you can, it is people that must come together with their muscles and everything to let you achieve what you want to achieve. And if you are general secretary and you are national chairman and you can't win election, you have no use.
Yep. Any
general secretary or national chairman who hasn't won election for your party, you have no records. When you are talking, when they are talking, you can't talk. So, Sena, I think that the NDC after this election, I think that they have to do introspection and check themselves and say, no, we got this one wrong. We have to find a way, and the next time it will repeat itself. And I think that that is very, very important. That is very important.
Well, let me go through a few of the messages we are getting on Facebook. This is Samo Adakwa Banfo, who says, good morning, Sena and Co. Please ask the MPP man the reason why Jim Mensah announced the 2020 results with 4 different figures. There's Yusuf Mohammed, who is also joined us. He says, good morning. Dr. Kobana Dufo has raised his grievances at the wrong time. I cannot be convinced that he is unaware that the NDC does not use album. Being aware opens an opportunity for him. Raise any grievance he has at the early stage, and not wait when the party starts organizing for its internal election. Then you begin raising issues. Anyone can be right by saying it's deliberate to frustrate the political process, and that can undermine his reputation. Yusuf Mohammed, I think I try as much as possible. There's Daniel Abuja. Sometimes I feel disappointed by my NDC. This photo album thing happened at trade fair when a candidate whose name photo changed into a woman. Rawlings Jr. says, why are you also throwing support to Baumia and not Ken or Alan? Is it not the same motive? No. Mujeeb is probably Alan man. Matthew Paddy says, for information, the photo album was not part of the requirements, but only the delegate list. The photo was just an afterthought to make the identification easy. Please correct that mistake now. Richard Lara said, Kufuado demolished La General Hospital and demolished Trade Fair Center in La, which benefits a lot of people in La. The majority of Ghanaians across the country. Sena, why did Kufuado demolish the hospital and Trade Fair? Trade Fair was a very busy center. Thank you. There is Dennis Yakwete, who is also joining us. Says the NDC is indeed facing some challenges at the moment, but it does not in any way warrant the kind of reception that has come from the Dufour scam. Indeed, for Dr. Dufour to describe the process leading to the NDC primaries as blatantly fraught with irregularities without any watertight evidence rooted in a proven fraud is regrettable. And to bow out in the face of the obvious but on the altar of a moribund Machiavellian tactics that has no place in modern-day politics is more problematic. Perhaps the comrade was right when he said that, quote, an old age without gray hair is a problem, end quote. Just as the Bible says in Job 32:9, that, quote, great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment, end quote. That exit press conference, which was only meant to deliberately weaponize the opponents against the presumptive flag bearer, was needless and regrettable to have come from people who had benefited so much of the NDC and only turned around to attempt to rock the boat because they thought they had arrived without considering the consequences thereof for posterity. Shalom. That's coming from Dennis Yakwete. There's also Sasha Kekeli, who says, if MPP is so competent, why are they failing Ghana in everything? Panama's says, he has the right, yes, but not to wait till 4 days, then you put injunction. What are you talking about? You cannot bring what you're doing in MPP to NDC. Talk about your corruption in the New Patriotic Party. So that's coming from Pana Maswa, who is also joining us. Suleiman Abdul says, Kwame, your submission is absolutely phenomenal and brilliant. Rollins Jr. says, learn from who? Okay, look at the son telling the father to learn from him. That's Rollins Jr. Edward Kofi Jomina says, good morning. Apparently, he says, Kwame, we want to see you in Parliament in 2028. So, Blessed Son in Mampona Santi says, NDC is a peaceful party. So let's maintain peace and love in our dear party, NDC. But JM is winning hands down. 2 p.m. Mampom. Asante, send that one. Goelolonya. It says, my name is NDC. Whoever tries to destroy me will end up destroying himself or herself. So those are some of the messages I'm getting from those of you watching us this morning. There's a few more that have come in subsequently after this one. This one from Richard Ala said, Al Jazeera said he doesn't owe Akufo-Addo nor his office any apology. And now the ball is in Akufo-Addo's name. Okay. There's DM Benny who says, Mujeeb. Okay. There's Kweku Jura who is joining us. Says, MPP man, you forgot in 2007 your presidential primaries. Why didn't you make Alan to contest Akufo-Addo during the runoff? But he said it would be his 10. Double standard party. Keep quiet and check yourself and look into your house. Many times, haven't you changed your presidential primaries? There's Haruna Jibril says, Sena, watching you live from Wa. Good morning to you and your wonderful guests this morning, especially my boss, Honorable Mujeeb, for the brilliant and fantastic submission this morning. That's coming from Haruna Jibril. A good morning to Dede Dede, who says, Sena, okay. Thank you. Well, so those are some of the messages you are sending to us this morning. So we've just been discussing the National Democratic Congress and their ongoing primaries. I still have in the studio Kwame Owusu Danso. I also have Mujeeb Rahman who are in the studio with me.
Some of our friends who are contesting this primaries, okay. And it is good we wish them individually. Well, today I look at I watch Ningo Pram Pram, Sam George, and I wish him well, and I would love him to win because it's a friend. So I don't pray for maybe the 7 votes difference. This time I pray that he got it with a bigger margin. And what's central, I want to wish all of them well because they are all my people. So I can't choose and say this one. Rashid Pelpo is there, Mujeeb Rahman is there, Alhaji Hudi is there, and then Wahid is there. So they are all my people. So I wish them well, and I wish them whoever emerge, they will all come together. It is the interest. But that place is difficult. So anybody emerge, I think that is fine. I can't just say A, B, C, or D. Yeah.
Let me also wish some people well. I think that rewarding hard work is very important, and I think that there are people who have worked hard even though it's their first term, and it's their first term in opposition. Okay. And so, if you find that somebody has actually invested hugely in the constituency, from his own pocket and from his own resources, I think that we must commend them, and if it is possible, retain them so they can continue to do what they are doing for the constituency. I'm talking about Naledugu Gambaga constituency, Alhaji Baba Seidu.
Oh, okay.
I think that he's doing very well in the constituency. There are some stiff oppositions and things like that, but I think he will sail through, and so I wish him all the best today. Also, Honorable Ebi Fuseni.
Hey, proverb man.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend, forgive me.
Honorable Ebi Fuseni. No matter what people say, I
wish
think
him well.
He's one of the few very committed and dedicated, NDC patriots.
Yeah.
And I think that.
Is there election going when Tamales have? I don't know.
Haruna and Tamale Central, all the Tamales.
So Union is also. Okay. Oh, congratulations.
But Ebi Fuseni, yes. I wish him well. Yeah. I know that he will win. It will be difficult, but he will win.
Okay.
Then Dr. Robert Kugagnablen, Binduri, I wish him all the best. Okay. I know he will win. Alhaji Baba Seidu. And then also Dr. Nawani.
Okay.
Kwame,
Thank you. Thank you. So we are discussing this morning the NDC primaries. Don't forget, the NDC has quite a tough week. I have had the privilege of speaking to the General Secretary of the National Chairman now. I always sometimes confuse him. National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Johnson Asiru Nketia, who has been trying to recount what has happened. At one point, I think it was Thursday, he said he attempted to speak to Dr. Kobna Dufo only for him to be told that his lawyers had advised him not to speak to the national chairman. He said he was completely surprised and taken aback by that move. Even on that Thursday, the lawyers of the NDC were ready and had gotten the Chief Justice to agree for a judge to hear them the case at 3 p.m. They tried to get the Dufo side to at least turn up for the hearing, and the Dufo side, they were not ready. So it's been quite a tight race for them, and for them to be able to steer clear. Well, if you listen to them, they also said they made a promise that the photo album was not a requirement. They made a promise. It was an addition. The guideline said we'll give you a delegates list, not a photo album. We're just that's an abundance of caution.
That is not ready.
Well,
the delegates list. What is this? What is it to entail? Because I mean, this is and clearly this is what the difficulty is.
We have display. I mean, we have MPP. We have display our albums.
Dr. Pessey has
we have display, so you can go there and check your name and everything. So
Dr. Pessey has joined us in studio. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for good morning. So Doc will share his views on the NDC primaries and matters arising. That's one. Doc.
NDC primaries?
Yes.
So I know very little about the primaries. I know that a number of my friends are in contention. I mean, Kwame has mentioned
yeah, the same.
I know
Suwini is going unopposed.
Unopposed.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So all the Tamale guys are unopposed.
How come?
Oh, they have done well.
Harina's guys are unopposed.
No, but
it's not easy to achieve.
I know.
I tell you.
I had a very rowdy episode
But
of
black one is
television
unopposed.
about someone going to contest Haruna.
No, nobody's contesting it.
How come? Because this manifestation on television, the very sizable crowd going for whoever was going to take him out. So, surprise. Maybe a casual observation. It appears that there's been a lot more interest in the NDC of late. That would suggest that maybe the party has become attractive. Not necessarily for the right reasons. But I think I've been on your show a few times. I know that this is about the 2024 elections. But my position is that there's a lot more that has to be done here and now to start the adult conversations that we must have about where our country is and where we get ourselves out of the mess. And I want to, Sena, is going to be around for at least one generation. And all we are getting is a song and dance and PR gimmicks to suggest to the good people of Ghana that all will be right, that there will be no pain. But from where I sit, I know that there will be a lot of pain. One, and that no Ghanaian household can be excluded. So I'm still on that beat. The issue for me is not 2024. The issue of leadership and what the country does and where it goes is here and now. I mean, this morning I read, or was it from last night, that the Paris Club had come to some arrangement. Yes.
Prof, I think that we are discussing NDC.
And maybe
NDC elections.
We are talking about the future of our country, my brother.
No, we'll come there.
You will pay attention, my brother.
Please,
We are talking about the future of our country. Unless you're saying that the NDC primaries are not about our future. We're talking about the future of our country. I can see a large jamboree and the popping of champagne. But Ghana is an amazing country. You have a situation where a criminal or a criminal suspect is seen at the scene of the crime with the murder weapon in his hand. He's not arrested, he's not removed and put behind bars. Is elected to lead the investigation. So we have this charade of finance minister whose crimes have led us to where we are. He's still in office. Amazing. And the Ghanaian people tolerate this nonsense. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know of any other country on this planet where this nonsense will be allowed to happen. It's happening live. But I warn you, those who acquiesce to this nonsense, who are complicit in this nonsense, should know that they are storing up trouble for the future. A lot of trouble. So for me, what is happening today is almost a sideshow. Many of the incumbents would sail through. There will definitely be upsets. What does not appear in doubt is that John Mahama will likely become the candidate. I know that that frightens our friends in the MPP, but there isn't much you can do about that. But like I said, I want us to keep our eyes on the ball here and now. Because with far-reaching consequences if we fail to begin to have adult conversations about where we are, where we want to go, and how we get out of this pit.
Thank you, Doc. And of course, because it's Alhaji and Alhaji, whatever happens to Alhaji Bashir Fuseni, ABA Fuseni will always be of interest to us. Because this show started as a collaboration between him and the late Alhaji Batore. So we wish Alhaji all the best. We have to wish Alhaji all the best. And then there's also a couple of races that people are watching. It seems the race between Honorable Rashid Pelpo, who actually always seem to sail through Wa Central quite easily, because a lot of people talk about his family background and the man himself, and the fact that this time around, it seems the race is heating up between him and Alhaji Hudu Mukhtari. People expect it to be a two-horse race, even though there are other people in the race. We'll see how that turns out. And then there's the repeat race between Samuel George Nati and then Michael Tete. That race is also happening in Ngo Pram Pram. There's a lot to watch out for. Well, we'll have to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about pensioners picketing at the Finance Ministry. This is the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are back shortly.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
Hello, information.
Madam,
May I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me? The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I did call. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Trasacco fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg going to guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is real. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasacco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasacco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster and affordable.
This is a Trasacco construction product.
Hello, information.
Madam,
May I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me? The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I did call. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Trasacco fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg going to guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is real. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasacco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasacco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster and affordable.
This is a Trasacco construction product.
He has labored.
Thank you very much for staying with us on the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are live on Pan-African television, also live on Radio Gold and several affiliates across the country. Like I indicated, we'll end at 11 a.m. so that the coverage of the NDC primaries will kick off here on Pan-African TV. Has already kicked off on Radio Gold and several other radio stations across the country. There's so much to look forward to. The NDC is trying to pull off something that will be amazing, and they have had Friday to do all these logistical shifts. Now, we have to move on to another discussion that Dr. Pessey is talking about, the unending conversation about financial situation that has resulted in pensioners picketing at the finance ministry. They did it first, and they thought that was the last time they would be heading there because they got the government to agree to exempt them from what they call the DDEP. So what they expect is that monies that they've borrowed to government or they've lent to government, government would pay them back when it is time for interest to be paid, and when it is time for them to get their monies back, government will do that. They are saying that time for some interest payments have passed, government has not paid them the interest. Some monies are due, some of their bonds are due that they are supposed to have been paid back. They are not getting those money. So we spent the next hour on this. They will call it a day. And this time around, I'll start with Mujeeb Rahman on this, the picketing of the pensioners at the finance ministry. Mujeeb?
It is true, but you understand there are issues with government. They didn't start just last week what we're seeing. This has to do with the debt exchange program, and they took a strong view and exception and said they didn't want to be part of the exchange program. And you know, pensioner bondholders, some were exempted from the program. And I think there was an agreement with the government as to paying them their coupons or is the principal. So I think basically according to what we have heard when they pick it, the media interview them, then you see them venting their grievances. So it was just about some of their coupons are due, and then government has to pay. So I think they were there, but yesterday there was a good news that they were engaged, the leadership of the group were engaged by the representative of the government through Minister of Finance. And they have, I think if you listen, after that, in the evening, if you listen to the leader, the convener of their group, who came out and said the government has listened to them and government has assured them, I think as from Monday, those coupons that are due, they will start paying those coupons. But with the principal, I think he went further to say government will still engage with them and then find a way forward for them. It's unfortunate anyway, nobody wish to see what is happening, Kwame. That is the truth, especially when you have worked throughout your life and then you have found a way of also putting something to cater for your health and other people who would have been dependent on them, and this thing happened. But Kwame, I don't always want to go back because we understand the economic challenge where we are and then the situation in the country. So these things are happening because of the situation of the economy. So, but we are also aware that government is not sleeping on this matter. Government is working things around to get us how we can get this economic recovery back. And then even though I saw that our senior uncle deviated, but that was it. So we've landed into IMF, and then the hurdles we have to cross to get there. And then yesterday we all heard the good news, the Paris clubs alongside China agreeing on the restructuring. That was a welcome news because nobody wished that this thing should not happen and let us continue to suffer. But with the debt exchange, the bondholders issue, just like I've said, government listened to them. And on Monday, let's see what happens. Some will start getting their money. And then this whole thing, we don't like seeing them there. It's not looking at their age, and then it's not the best. And I think that it won't repeat. It won't repeat itself. Yeah.
Well, so I'm reading, I think the story is from citynewsroom.com, like Mujeeb says, and it's, the story is that government has agreed to pay all outstanding coupons of members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum. For the past 5 days, the group has picketed at the Finance Ministry demanding the payment of outstanding coupons and principals owed them since February. At the instance of the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Adam, a meeting was convened on Friday, May 12th, where government assured the pensioners to pay all outstanding coupons while discussions surrounding principal payments continue. Speaking to City News after the meeting, the convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, Dr. Edwan Anyenchi, noted, quote, "In conclusion of the meeting after we had deliberated on issues, government has assured to pay all outstanding coupons up to Monday, May 15, and then continue to now service coupons and when they are due. So all outstanding coupons will be paid effective Monday, including the coupons that will be due on Monday. There will be no outstanding payment if government pays that, and subsequent coupons will be paid as and when it's due. For principal coupons, government is still talking to us. We haven't concluded on that yet. We will keep having discussions with government as when government will be able to pay." Let me come to Kwame for his views on this.
Well, thank you, Sena. I think that Mujeeb has given us a foundation upon which the arguments can be advanced. You take care of the country when you are young, in the expectation that when you are old, the country will take care of you. And so you try to work your best and do your best and commit your time, your energy, your sweat, your blood into developing the country, into investing in the country, into working in the country, and into serving the country, so that when you go on pension, so that when you are old, the country will also take care of you, will give back to you. I was taken aback when I read in the news and in some portals about how government decided to take the bonds of persons who have worked for several years in this country and to not pay them their capital, but to pay them their what's it called, the interest. Yeah. And I was surprised, and I was following keenly when we had people picket at the finance ministry, and subsequently persons who are ordinarily who have not ordinarily conducted themselves in ways that suggest that they will even picket were part of the people who picketed at the finance ministry, all in an attempt to draw the ears of government to the plight that they have. In the beginning, the impression was created that we are going to amicably resolve the matter, and we are going to make sure that you will be exempted from whatever arrangement there is that government had in respect of the management of the financial space. So I think some form of respite was given to the bond holders, and of course they thought that government was going to fulfill their end of the bargain when they truncated their picketing, only for the maturity date to arrive and for government to fail to respond to the promises that it made to the bond holders. I found that to be very, very disrespectful. Disrespectful in the sense that when you make a promise to somebody, and it's not like you are dashing them the money. It is not like you are saying that, okay, you have worked for so long in this country and therefore we are giving you X amount of money. These are monies which were invested by the people themselves. And they invested these monies so that when they are unable to, make some extra cash, when they are sick, when they are not well, when they need to pay for some hospital bills and all of those things, they will be able to, get some money to take care of themselves in their old age. Especially when in this country, there's no specific policy directed at taking care of the elderly, and therefore it is either you yourself do your own investment so that when you're old, you take care of yourself, because the country will never take care of you. You don't have specific, monies that we even pay to people who are old, as in other countries where that when you are above a certain age and you are at the mercy of the country, they try to pay you a certain amount of money, whether significant or otherwise. At least you'll be able to take care of yourself, you'll be able to buy your medication and all of that, so that you will not be a burden to society. So one would have thought that good conscience will prevail. One would have thought that government will act in the best interest of the bond holders. But of course, that did not happen. Subsequently, we were made to believe that, some agreement would be reached. And I think that they wanted the agreement, the verbal agreement, to be reduced to a written agreement. And of course, the government knows the consequences of a written agreement. When an agreement is reduced to, written agreement, of course, oral agreements sometimes carry weight. But for the purposes of evidence, concrete, direct, documentary evidence, you would always wish that your agreements are reduced into writing, so that when you are needed to present it, it is easier for you to look for it and bring it. So government is also smart. They didn't do that. I listened to, the convener who expressed his dissatisfaction and disgust about how they've been treated. And I listened to one retired police officer, and because I could relate, I felt the pain, and I could identify with the pain and the struggles that the man was going through. Because my father was in active service for over 30-something years. And this man was in the police for 35 years. And he retired as a chief inspector. And he said, when I retired, I invested all my monies into this bond in the hope that it will yield some small money for me so that I'll be able to take care of myself and take care of my health. He was of the opinion that because government had failed to fulfill its end of the bargain, he was unable to even buy drugs. In fact, that day when he was being spoken to by the media house, he was on his way to the hospital. And he said that he's been diagnosed of some sickness and that he has to be frequenting the hospital. But what is he going to use to make payments? Is it not the same money? So why would government be sitting on those monies which belongs to other people? I find that to be very, very disingenuous. And it violates the principle of, good governance. It violates the principle of good governance, because if you have people who did not travel outside the country to go and seek for greener pastures, but they stayed in this country, contributed significantly to the development of this nation, contributed and paid their taxes whilst in service, and then they are on pension and they have invested their money and say that you're not going to pay them their money, I find that to be very disingenuous. What are we telling the young people out there? Are we telling the young people that you cannot sacrifice for the country? Are we telling the young people that the country will abandon you in times of your need? Are we telling the young people that there is no reward in selflessness and in patriotism? Is that what we are teaching the young people? Are we telling the young people that yes, I mean you can work for so many years, but when it is time for the country to take care of you, the country will neglect you and abandon you in the middle of the ocean? Is that what the message we are trying to put across? I find that to be very, very, very disheartening. And let good conscience prevail. Let us pack our conscience behind our actions. Oftentimes, I think we act before we think. And my friend always says that it appears that the leaders we have in this country always think anti-clockwise. They always think anti-clockwise. Because all these things that you are doing, you are only living in the minds of the young people that you do not have to commit yourself to anything. Little wonder that the young people we have in this country now are focused on other things which are immaterial to the survival of the country. What are they involved in? The young people. And it's not, I don't blame them, because the country doesn't take care of you. Look, let me digress a little bit. Look at the rent situation in this country. And it's a matter that we are not talking about. Yesterday, I was on a phone call with a friend of mine who has completed university and has to do his service in Accra. He lives in Kumasi. He calls me and said, "Oh, Mr. Danso, please, can you assist me raise some money to rent?" I said, "Oh, where?" He said, "Oh, because the office is in Achimota, I want to stay somewhere close to Achimota." I said, "Okay, how much is it?" Then the guy said, "Oh, single room, self-contained. They are charging the guy 800 Ghana cedis a month. 800 Ghana cedis a month for single room self-contained. For somebody who just graduated from the university. Where do you expect the young man to get money to pay the rent? Where?" And
in this case scenario, they don't even accept 1 month.
Exactly, they don't even accept 1 year. And these are the things that we must begin to have conversation about. Conversations which will motivate people to commit themselves solely to the development of country. Look, it saddens my heart when you graduate from the university, and I'm saying this and connecting it with how many years people have to struggle, how many years, the length of the amount of years that people spend in investing in themselves and in contributing to the development of Ghana. And when they spend all those years till pension, till when they go on pension, they are still not taken care of by. So it's like this country is just punishing you. You are living in hell, because when you are young and you graduate from university, the country doesn't take care of you. The country doesn't give you jobs. The country doesn't help you even manage how you rent, what you pay for. Price of foodstuffs are up. Goods and services, transportation. So even when you are done with your service and somebody even offers you a job, and you have to transport yourself from your house to where the office is. The amount of money that you spend each day on transportation alone from your house to where the office is so much. So at the end of the month, if you are even being paid 2,000 Ghana cedis, when you take out the transportation, when you take out what you eat, it will be left with nothing. You can't even save. You can't do anything. Is it a country that we are building for the next generation? Are we just punishing people? Do we just not? We don't have conscience. We don't care. I mean, let common sense prevail. So somebody will go through all this stress, then they still continue struggle. They find something to do. Then they say, okay, let me serve the country. Some people will go into immigration. Some people will go to Ghana police, military, even to get in. It's a problem. Now, even to get into military, immigration, you have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Some people will have to pay some money to somebody before you will be what? You will be asked to serve your own country, the country that you want to serve. You pay to serve the country. Then after you have paid to serve the country, when you go on retirement and you invest your little money, instead of the country to take care of you, the country is still stealing from you. What kind of country is this? What kind of country is this? What is this? So that is why you find people going to Libya, trying to get out of the country. I mean the continent. That is why you find people traveling all over the place. That's why you find people everywhere, because they can no longer take it. This is the reality. This is where we are now. For those of us who have small cars that we drive, Mujeeb, when you have to go and buy fuel just for a week, I don't want to even say it on air, because for me, people will say, oh, there's no crowd, because how much you buy, you put into your fuel, your vehicle, for just a day, is so much. So you ask yourself, what at all am I doing in this country? When I'm energetic, I am strong, maybe I just have to pack out and go and look for greener pastures somewhere, because that is where we are getting to. And it's sad. I want to conclude by saying that I am particularly excited that the leaders of the group did not rest on their oars. I am happy that they have consistently, without contradiction, they have consistently, even though I know there have been some pushbacks, but they have stood their ground, and they are teaching us, the young people, that irrespective of how the country treats you, you can stand up, fight for yourself, and defend for what is rightfully yours. So I'm happy that they have they have stood their ground, and I'm happy that they are demanding what is rightfully theirs from the government of Ghana. And I know that in the final analysis, when they get it, it will be some motivation for all of us, that even though the country doesn't want to take care of you, you can demand from the country what is rightfully yours, and you can get it. For the young people out there, I just want to say that we do not have to lose hope. I know that hope will not be the vehicle that may give you a job, but at least you will be confident that one day it will be better. So that is all what we have to maintain at this material moment, because otherwise you will find people committing suicide. Look, recently in Kumasi, people are so frustrated in this country that it's no longer a joke. People are now killing people without recourse to common sense and good conscience. People are just doing all sorts of things. People are just, so it's just the survival of the fittest. Take care of yourself, or you will die trying. That's where we are now. It's unfortunate, but that is a sad reality. And I hope and pray that leadership is seeing what is going on in this country, and in the interest of good conscience and common sense, they will make sure that they do what is right by conscience, by what is right by, in fact, let me say what is right by Christianity, because they say they are Christians, okay, and take care of the people who have taken care of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. This is Kofi Nislegon, who says, Sena, talking about pensioners' health, are they not on national health insurance? That is Kofi Nislegon. That's another matter on his own. This is Komla Genya, who says, if NDC should learn anything from MPP at all, definitely won't be how to pour acid on opponent. how to send military men to go and shoot innocent citizens to change election results. That's Komla Ganya who sent that. A few from Facebook, those of you sending us message from Facebook. Mama Dubulala Zangina, there's who says, Mujeeb, you remember what happened in your party years ago? Nana single-handedly removed the general secretary and party chairman. That was cool by you, wasn't it? Chop your house matter. There's Yusuf Mohammed who says, as said by one of your panels, we have decided to award Honorable Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed by making him an opposed for his hard work in the constituency, and we shall proceed to maintain him as our MP. There's a Prince Yusuf Mola who says, Mujeeb is speaking softly. Are you not the same people defending Anado extravagantly, wasting taxpayers' money by renting expensive private jet, trotting around the globe aimlessly? Yusuf Mohammed against us, it's good to invest, but unfortunately, we can't and will never trust this MPP administration with our investment. They sent that from Tamale Central. Doc.
Thank you, Sena. Sometimes one doesn't quite know where to begin from. But I think it was the Pastor Otabil who made the point that elections have consequences. It may sound a bit heartless to say this. And this very minute, we're speaking about the pensioners on the picket line. Okay. Maybe the next time around I ought to join them. But jokes aside, in a certain sense, one gets the impression that the leaders of the group have become complicit in this whole circus of deception. Now, the simple truth is this. Our economy has been managed so recklessly that no one household in this country, not one, can escape the consequences. And the mirage that some groups can stay out is false. That's the first thing you have to wake up to. Imagine a household. You have maybe one breadwinner, sometimes two, right? Okay. And they are both out of a job. No income is coming in. It's time for adult conversations in that household about how they manage. And somebody says, as for me, I must have my birthday dress. And then Papa says, oh, you will have it. We must quit the games and the deception. We must quit the games and the deception. And the earlier and the faster we do that, the better for all of us. Now, we've reached, quote unquote, or we are at the point of reaching an agreement with the IMF in record time. One major reason is that the Americans are leaning on the fund. Why? And the fund is also happy to be leaned on for different reasons. For the fund, Ghana is a star pupil. If Ghana gets into quote unquote a mess, it's bad advertisement for them. For the Americans, Ghana has become a very reliable puppet. Very reliable puppet for their designs and their ambitions in the sub-region. So they also need that at least this thing goes through. But by all accounts, it will not be enough, because our people have been engaged in creative accounting, cooking the books. And the longer this song and dance goes on, the longer the deception will go on. Why? Wasn't the president himself who said there will be no haircuts? Or I didn't hear right? You see, at the heart of this our problem is that you have a whole regime that came into being on the foundation of deception and dishonest, and it has continued to rule and govern and to do everything on that basis. I heard one of the leaders say that, oh, why? Government can take money from the treasury bill market and pay. Yes. It's like if it was a simple matter of just borrowing a way out of debt, nobody will be in debt. Nobody will go into debt. If it's simply a matter of borrowing a way out of debt, which is what has gotten us where we are. And instead of facing up to where we are still carrying on and engaging in various I'm not even sure whether to go on that tangent, but in illusions, erecting illusions and chasing illusions, and it's not going to help us. Now, this very minute, there are people who are dying, aged pensioners, because when you get to this stage, you have all kinds of ailments. You have diabetes, you have whatever, okay, kidney issues. I mean, people are going. You can bet your bottom dollar that people are going faster than usual, because there are many households that are in acute distress, and it's happening very quietly. Some are going without even knowing the state in which we are as a country. Okay? And then, just a side, it's not even a side issue, because Kwame raised the issue about the fact that we are not even having any conversations about housing and rent. Because it looks like the material issues are not the reason why we think that politics is important. The reason why politics is important is that, oh, A is from my town, or he speaks my dialect, which is also why you have this deafening silence. Because, oh, Nana is one of us. Nana is one of us. I'm trying to imagine what would have happened if it had been somebody else who had been in this seat this past 6 years. All of a sudden, when people are talking, they develop a phobia for naming who is in charge of our country. The phrase that has come into fashion is the presidency. I don't think Ghanaians elected the presidency. Or there's such a disembodied being called the presidency. No, it's no joke. In a few years back, we were very clear about who was responsible for our problem. Not so. Yes. They said so. They said it was President Mahama. Very simple. Straightforward. And I agree with them. Because at every material moment, the person who is in charge has responsibility. But here you have a regime erected on dishonesty, on fraud, with nobody responsible. So if the good people of Ghana are happy to go along that tangent, they should stew in it. After all, it is nobody's fault. It is some presidency. Then now there's a generic. Politicians. What nonsense. We elected people. We gave them a mandate, or they stole our mandate. Yes. People were shot, people were killed in the process. But they have it. They better deliver. But we cannot live with this nonsense of people, of having a situation where people have power, they've stolen the mandate, but they have no responsibility. It is completely unacceptable. And the earlier we get out of that delusion, the better for us. Because we were talking about elections a few moments back, right? And for many people, my mind was going around many things when Kwame was talking about our country and our nation. Well, we have a geographical space called Ghana, but we hardly think about it as one piece. Okay? A few years back, I think it was Kwame who said that, oh, people think about themselves as Achim, Asante, Ga, Gonja, whatever. And many years back, that was the truth. Nkrumah sought with the Ghana project to build one nation. But that meant, quote unquote, detribalization. That prospect sufficiently frightened some people to declare war on the CPP. There was a fatwa that some people should decamp from the CPP, otherwise it was treason. That was what birthed my friend's party. That's what birthed my friend's party. And people are talking about 2024. People are going to look at it simply in those lenses. Is he my tribesman? Or is he close to my tribe? And for 75% of our people, that is how the decisions are made. Know whether rents will be accessible. Know whether people will have housing. Know whether you would have quality education. Or whether he speaks my language, is like me. And the minute we begin to come to terms with these things, then we can begin to make some progress. Now, talking about housing again, we look at the two parties. I can bet my bottom dollar that the bulk of their leaderships are landlords or persons aiming to be landlords. Right? If so, why would they be interested in making rents accessible? But these matters don't come up. They don't. Until they begin to matter and come to the fore. we will not be making much progress quickly. So to my colleagues who are out there picketing, you have my sympathy. But we must get out of the notion that it is somehow possible for some group to escape the consequences of the recklessness and the gambling that our finance minister and his boss has taken us on. And we're paying for it for a long time to come. The minute we get around the table, everybody around the table, organized labor, employers, academic, everybody, and begin to talk and have an adult conversation about where we are and what we ought to do, we're not going to get anywhere fast. I insist. You should quit playing the illusions and the fantasies that somehow some people are going to be out of this. There's a lot of pain, there'll be a lot of pain for a while. You better get real and start talking about these things now.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Just a few messages on Facebook on this discussion that we have. And we're talking about the pensioners returning to the finance ministry picketing. It seems they have sort of an agreement. The finance ministry says starting Monday they'll pay them some. Doc is of the opinion that that is not a solution to the problem. In fact, probably, I think from Doc's estimation, they'll be back there very soon. Because the situation is so bad, they won't be able to find money to continue making those payments.
If their money is paid today, why would they come there?
Well,
But you know,
but those are not the only bonds that will mature.
that's the thing.
No, but if you read the story, they said even after this, so any maturing bond to the coupon will be paid.
That was the original
Agreement. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the original.
Even as at yesterday's
they are
statement,
back
people,
there.
oh, Kwame, yesterday you listened to them. You read the statement
Mujeeb,
further.
I'm saying that when they were issued the exemption,
Yeah.
that was what they were promised.
Yeah,
It has not been delivered because of what Doc is talking about,
Yes.
the unavailability of the
There's
funds.
dishonesty
That's
going
the
on and they are
situation
becoming
we are in.
So I thought
complicit in
it's
it.
now a professor of doom. So it's now saying they'll go back there.
No, I'm not a professor of doom.
Let's pray.
I'm talking about realism
It is
and
resolved,
dealing
then-
on the foundation of truth.
Yeah.
What you have is essentially a regime built on dishonesty.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And all the things you're seeing are consequences of that.
Yeah.
If you wreck something on dishonesty, that is what you reap.
You know, and for me, I think that caution must be established on the basis of how the elderly conduct themselves in respect of matters which affect them not directly but indirectly. And I'll explain it. You see, because there are people who have influence, even though yes they are being mistreated, but their issue is being expedited in terms of how the government is responding to them. When there are other issues which affect the young people of this country, I think that they must also be seen to be involved in the resolution of those matters. Because you see, when it happens that you only show your face when issues affect you and you alone, it is quite,
Warren.
Yes.
Warren.
Because if you don't have the elderly to speak for us, and you only leave it for the young people to articulate our concerns, we may not necessarily get the results that we desire. So that is also what I want to put out, that going forward, they should also concern themselves with issues relating to the young people of this nation.
I should disagree with Kwame.
Okay.
It is the youth who provide the energy, the motive force for social change everywhere, throughout all times. The youth. On the contrary, the agent may provide insights. They may provide guidance. They may talk from experience. But the force, the driver, is youth.
I don't think we disagree on that. There's agreement on that. But what the point I'm making, I'm not talking about that force of course, it's important. The force of change is important. I'm only saying that if it appears that when the youth, for instance, the NDC embarked on several, demonstrations, you recall?
Yeah.
Several of them. And it appeared as though at the time it was only a matter which had to do with the NDC. Even when we were talking about issues which affected all of us, people who are supposed to have good conscience, people who have lived in this country and appreciate things, were silent on the matter. So you would only find the young people who are pushing for change. Yeah. And I'm only saying that when we have the elderly also behind us and pushing the narrative, the reception will be different, as opposed to just young people, pushing the agenda. That's what I'm saying. Because you see, the exigencies of the time, which led the young people to change the political atmosphere, is not the same as exigencies of now. Now, you cannot do certain things. Now we claim we are, democratic. We claim we operate from the confines of rule of law and things like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are some things which, in my estimation, unfortunately, we cannot do. You can only do so much, but you cannot, like for instance, when, and I'm sure Dr. Pessey would know this, that when you were young, the student leadership, the student front was very strong. It was apolitical. They fought for something. They stood for something. They counted for something. But you can't say same for now. For the young people.
Kwame, you are right.
That is what I am.
Ask me why. Kwame, I told you some times ago that it will be difficult for us to get to where Doc is talking because of our excessive politicization.
Absolutely.
Kwame, I have a call to tell some people that it's like we are now slaves in our political parties. Doc, when even it is blue, but you have to say it is red. Mm. And I always ask myself, today there's a country before political parties. Mm. And when elections are over, Kwame, what do you expect from leaders? Mm. You expect a very good leadership to provide the basic necessities. But Kwame, when you want to talk, I say, it's an MPP man, it's an NDC man, and that defeats the people. Kwame, you talk of student front. Now go to the schools and see. The political parties have hijacked the elections and everybody. And now whether you are news or whatever, you know whose political party the person belongs to. In fact, the political parties even finance their elections. Doc, and I hope your time it wasn't like that.
Who said it wasn't like that?
The infiltration of the student front much to the extent that even when certain policies have introduced, students' leadership has to come and issue statements in supporting those, even though they are inimical to the development of the growth of the people. My worry is that, we might be, let's begin to do this conversation. What do I expect from them? Or if we go around, they are all campaigning and promising development. Kwame, you talk of even when you finish school, you want to study, you can't get affordable house. Kwame, 60-something years, we don't have affordable houses for workers, even on those on transit. So what are we planning to do? So Kwame, today, now our political parties have now become our religions, and we are worshipping them. So whether they are doing the right thing or the wrong thing when they form government, you have to keep quiet. It's a conversation, Kwame. And I told my friends one day we'll trigger this. Kwame, that is the bane of Ghana's problems today.
How much time do you have for this?
We have to wrap up. We actually have to wrap up.
No, but for now, it's just a general conversation we are having.
Because I have...
Make a final point without messages.
Very well.
We'll close,
There's no time when you can banish politics.
No.
But our friends are always disingenuous. When it is them, they are pushing politics all the time. When you raise issues, then they say, look, no politics.
The discussion, this topic goes beyond that.
No, but you see, the thing is this. The thing is this. Our politics has evolved over a period, right? There was a period pre-independence when Nkrumah and the CPP were trying to forge a nation, the Ghana Project. That's what I call the Ghana Project. And the Ghana Project is everywhere in tatters, right? So that you would think of yourself as Ghanaian first, and maybe Gonja or Ga or whatever second. And the principal opposition came from the base of your party. Why? Because, you know, if you think about it properly, if you think of yourself as Ada or Ede or Asin, right? You have a certain ethnic bias, don't you? Okay. If you are going to have detribalization, on what basis are you going to organize your ethnicity? So they saw that as a danger. Detribalization was a danger. And that was how the NLM was born. Because if Nkrumah was allowed to proceed along his track, you could no longer mobilize people on the basis of who they ethnically were. And some people found it dangerous. That's where we are finally at. Now our politics has become divided on those lines. And you find it in the university, you find it at every level. And when people are elected, they get themselves elected to lead unions. They are leading a union in the interest of their party, not in the interest of the constituency that makes up the union. If you're talking about students, for instance, no. That is where we are finally arrived at. This process started a long time back. This is where we finally are. Which is also one reason why many people have gone silent and mute. Because you cannot be talking against your own. But your own what? Your own ethnicity or your material interests. And when they conflict, on which side are you on? Because we're just talking about the simple issue of rent and housing. You have the party of the landlords, and you have the party of the tenants and this thing. Or are you going to decide that, oh, me, well, I can't, so no matter what, I make my decision on the basis of whether he's a can or is not. And by and large, that is where we are now. One Nation Ghana, it was a project. It was abandoned a long time ago. But that is the only way forward, in truth. That is the only feasible way forward. As to whether we are going to recognize that and work on it is another matter.
Thank you. A few messages. This is Fearless Haina who says, Sena, please tell Bro Kwame that it is not like Ghanaians are being punished. Rather, we are being punished, especially by this government. My worry is that the youth has allowed itself to be lured into politics. Actually, he says politics. Our front is broken. When the cats are away, the mice will play. Haruna Ajibu says, Sena, the only personality to change the hurdle and stress we are going through today is nobody than Alan Kojo Chomanting because of the vision of his industrialization. A country to be on issues by making sure the youth gets jobs and livelihood so easy is the country has to be industrialized. Alan has all that it takes to put all this into reality because he has character to do it. Mido Razak is also agreeing with him. Alan is the only way to go. There's Akoto says that Dr. Pessey is indeed a fountain of knowledge. Dela Abdallah says this is wisdom talking. Doc is always on point. Well, so that's how we conclude the show for today. I guess today is the birthday of, let me be sure, because Facebook gave me some alerts. Today is the birthday of Latifa Adam. Is that accurate? Kwame? I think so, yeah. Okay. Today is the birthday of Latifa Adam, who is the host of, I've forgotten the show, Zongo. Hello Zongo. Hello Zongo on Pan-African television here. Happy birthday to you, Latifa. And happy birthday to Rosedo, who is one of the 2 deputy national youth organizers of the National Democratic Congress. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday to Bosse Wudu, Mrs. Mishkini. Happy birthday to you. And happy birthday to Enyonam Koto. I have a happy 69th birthday to lawyer Kokumote Akbadi, who celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy 69th birthday to you. And of course, this one is from Prosper Mensah, who is wishing SW1 William Tamaklo, a former cadre of Bethlehem near Ashaiman, a happy birthday, which falls today. Today's your birthday, actually. Also for a happy birthday to Divine Kafui Tamaklo and Wisdom Dela Tamaklo. Happy birthday to both of you. I've also been asked by Mr. Frangoka to extend condolences to the family of, I think it's Chief Inspector, let me find it quickly, Chief Inspector Sena Saba, Chief Inspector Sena Saba, who's passed on and will be buried on June 3rd, 2023. So condolences to his family. Thank you very much for making time to join us on the show today. The Mother World Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We're live on Pan-African TV, live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM, live on several affiliates across the country. I'm Sena Nombo. A big thank you to Kwame Owusu Danso, who is head of production here at Pan-African TV, also a student of the law. And of course, a big thank you to Mujeeb Rahman. Nice to see him this morning. He's a member of the MPP's communication team, a proud member of the Alan Chemanting campaign. Of the new Peter. Yes. I like the confidence with which he says it. Okay. Okay.
Because nothing came up for us to discuss, and I would have taken you through to understand.
We'll get there.
That it's not about noise making, it's about getting the work done.
Dr. David Pessey is a student of history and politics. A big thank you to my crew here at Pan-African Television, of course, at Radio Gold, several affiliates across the country. We are back same time next week. Next week, hopefully, we'll be in North Town constituency. We are done.
He's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer. He has labored.
Hello, information.
Madam,
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, are they?
madam, relax. Look, that's not why I even called. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Trasacco fast floor.
Trahuako, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg Bonus Nagai.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Nombo, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasacco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
Oh, madam, it is done.
Wow.
Trasacco Fast Floor, stronger, faster and affordable.
This is a Trasacco construction product.
Trasacco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasacco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasacco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call
join us at the National Theatre on the 9th of June 2023.
It's free. To book a seat, call us on 027 430 9099. 027 430 9099.
Ladies, come, let's continue to hold up the sky. Be there.
I wanna grow old by your side, all my days and all my nights.
My baby, your love I carry for my heart, oh. My baby, the feeling they beat me like potato. My baby, tired of getting it wrong. This won't be another heartbreak song. Yeah. Somebody song go find me one day. My baby, my Valentine. Yeah, now you do make it with temperature days. If you leave me a good time, I swear. You are like the oxygen I need to survive, I'll be honest.
I've been saying I love you, babe, but you've been gossiping about me. You know do well. I don't know where you came from, but when you get home, please tell the devil hello.
Ay, mama, shigidi, nakufa, hoy, wikidi, ay, mama, shigidi, konki, fire, moto, liquidi.
I dey talk to you, make you answer the dang banana, baby. Oh yeah. Come take your umbongo, baby.
Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Shut up and bend over. Let your back do the talking over.
That's why you ask my alcohol. I don't wanna reason bad things no more. I don't wanna go back to where I did before. Make nobody stress me, not disturb me, cha. I sip my alcohol. I don't wanna reason bad things no more. I don't wanna go back to where I did before. Make nobody stress me, not disturb me, cha.
Hello, what are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those socio-economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And Personality Profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma Pratt. Still, the only TV show with a hat.
China Now is a show dedicated to providing the world with an overview of today's China. Here, you will learn about how China works, how China thinks, and how China views itself and the rest of the world. Let China not be far away from you anymore. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m.
It's also a little bit of a cliche. I mean, we're all used to the James Bond scene, as it were, with all the ambassadors sipping champagne and seeming to do nothing else but dine and sip champagne at receptions. That is not true. That is a misconception of the time and the nature of the work.
Diplomacy is not devoid of accountability.
Everything that matters in Africa matters to Europe as well. Be it demography, be it economy, be it security, be it culture.
Can somebody tell me where Ghana is found in Africa? Is it west? Is it south? Is it north? Is it east Africa? Which one? Any idea? Any idea?
It's like on the west.
It's like, this is what? I don't get.
To the south. It's to the west. To the west.
Okay. South American ambassadors represented.
I'm transforming the UN and making the UN more fit for business for Ghana is the prime objective that I have here.
You are one outstanding journalist, broadcast journalist, who has put diplomatic tourism and, diplomatic relations under one spotlight.
I have been watching diplomatic affairs, and I've waited unabatedly for my opportunity to come here as I watched my colleague, the EU, last week.
This is Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati.
In previous seasons, you saw this.
You are not allowed to hawk or preach in commercial vehicles.
The perception in Ghana is abortion is illegal, and we don't follow up with the exceptions.
The existence of the customary marriage is no prerequisite
for the
ordinance marriage.
Yes. And now, are you ready for this?
Some people express the fact that they don't go on leave with pride.
Accumulated leave, like they term it, is illegal.
Because in Ghana we don't have enough lawyers, and the accused can apply for bail where he has no lawyer.
Knowing full well that you have an STI and you do not reveal that to the person and you have the sexual contact with the person, it is also part of domestic violence.
Join the Law Express panel for relevant, informative, and educative topics.
It is clear that if the court grants bail, it is the registrar of the court that has the power to deal with execution of the bail.
All matrimonial properties that are sold without the consent of the other party are actually null and void.
This is Swift Africa.
I wanna grow old by your side, all my days and all my nights.
My baby, your love I dey carry for my heart, oh. My baby, the feeling they beat me like potato. My baby,
Tired of getting it wrong. This won't be another heartbreak song. Yeah, somebody song go find me one day.
My baby, my Valentine. Yeah, now you do make it with temperature days. If you leave me a good time, I swear. You are like the oxygen I need to survive, I'll be honest.
I've been saying I love you, babe, but you've been gossiping about me. You know do well. I don't know where you came from, but when you get home, please tell the devil hello.
Ay, mama, shigidi, nakufa, oi, wikidi, ay, mama, shigidi, konki, fire, moto, liquidi.
I dey talk to you, make you answer the dang banana, baby. Oh yeah. Come take your umbongo, baby.
Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Shut up and bend over. Aye, let your back do the talking over.
That's why you ask my alcohol. I don't wanna reason bad things no more. I don't wanna go back to where I did before. Make nobody stress me, not disturb me, cha. I sip my alcohol. I don't wanna reason bad things no more. I don't wanna go back to where I did before. Make nobody stress me, not disturb me, cha.
Hello, information. Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, are they?
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I even called. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Chosako fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg, don't catch a guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasaco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasaco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster and affordable.
This is a Trasaco construction product.
Trasaco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasaco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasaco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call
join us at the National Theatre on the 9th of June 2023.
It's free. To book a seat, call us on 027 430 9099. 027 430 9099.
Ladies, come, let's continue to hold up the sky. Be there.
I wanna grow old by your side, all my days and all my nights.
Subiri lipone, bado naliukosa. Natamani ukome, nipelikizo mwenzio. I love you, even when I don't say it a lie, no. Yeah, I miss you, even when I don't say it at all, no.
Sena because of Jennifer, now she dey do the dirty that. My baby, your love I dey carry for my heart, oh. My baby, the feeling they beat me like potato. My baby,
Tired of getting it wrong. This won't be another heartbreak song. Yeah. Somebody song go find me one day.
My baby, my Valentine. Yeah, now you do make it with temperature days. If you leave me a good time, I swear. You are like the oxygen I need to survive, I'll be honest.
I've been saying I love you, babe, but you've been gossiping about me. You know do well. I don't know where you came from, but when you get home, please tell the devil hello.
Ay, mama, shigidi, nakufa, hoi, wikidi, ay, mama, shigidi, konki, fire, moto, liquidi.
I dey talk to you, make you answer the dang banana, baby. Oh yeah. Come take your umbongo, baby.
Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Shut up and bend over. Aye, let your back do the talking over.
I don't wanna go back to where I did before. Make nobody stress me, no disturb me, ja.
Hello, what are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle, health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those social, economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And personality profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma, but still the only TV show with a hat.
China Now is a show dedicated to providing the world with an overview of today's China. Here, you will learn about how China works, how China thinks, and how China views itself and the rest of the world. Let China not be far away from you anymore. Join us every Saturday at 8 a.m.
It's also a little bit of a cliche. I mean, we're all used to the James Bond scene, as it were, with all the ambassadors sipping champagne and seeming to do nothing else but dine and sip champagne at receptions. That is not true. That is a misconception of the time and the nature of the work.
Diplomacy is not devoid of accountability.
Everything that matters in Africa matters to Europe as well. Be it demography, be it economy, be it security, be it culture.
Can somebody tell me where Ghana is found in Africa? Is it west? Is it south? Is it north? Is it east Africa? Which one? Any idea? Any idea?
It's like on the west.
It's like, this is what? I don't get.
To the south. It's to the west. To the west.
Okay. South American ambassadors represented.
I'm transforming the UN and making the UN more fit for business for Ghana is the prime objective that I have here.
You are one outstanding journalist, broadcast journalist, who has put diplomatic tourism and, diplomatic relations under one spotlight.
I have been watching diplomatic affairs, and I've waited unabatedly for my opportunity to come here, as I watched my colleague, the EU, last week.
This is Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati.
In previous seasons, you saw this.
You are not allowed to hawk or preach in commercial vehicles.
The perception in Ghana is abortion is illegal, and we don't follow up with the exceptions.
The existence of the customary marriage is no prerequisite
for the ordinance
marriage.
Yes. And now, are you ready for this?
Some people express the fact that they don't go on leave with pride.
Accumulated leave, like they term it, is illegal.